Hey YouTube, it's Corlash1990, and today I have my first Sorcery TCG deck tech after the Arthurian Legends release. And basically, this is my old Enchantress deck, and I have upgraded it to the new Druid avatar, which is an absolute blast to play. This avatar is so cool. It might actually take place as my favorite avatar above Pathfinder, which I didn't think was gonna happen because I really, really like Pathfinder. So we'll go right into the deck and how it plays and everything. It has a pretty similar style to my old Pathfinder deck. So to go over Druid, this is one of the box topper avatars, which I think is great too because it's really easy to get. As usual, 20 health, 1 attack, and you can tap the player, draw a sight. And if you played a sight and you don't control Tawny, you summon her there. And basically, Tawny is the owl. So turn 1, play a sight, you get your owl. It's a 1 power minion token, a unique one. So when it dies, it gets banished. It goes away. So when it dies, you can play another sight to play her again. Pretty sure that's how that works. She has airborne, spellcaster, and can't defend. So it's like a pretty good, like an arc node, if you want to think of it, to like arc your spells through. This deck doesn't really focus on that. It's just a good little harasser kind of minion that I have for the deck. And the second ability on the front side is you can tap to summon Bruin here, and then you flip this card. So Bruin is a big ol' 4 power bear, and while near your avatar, Bruin takes all damage for him, so he protects your avatar, which is pretty sweet. Plus a free 4 power minion is nothing to joke about. When Druid flips, still 20 health, 1 attack. You can tap the player, draw a sight like usual. It has amazing artwork, by the way. I wonder what all of these like tentacle things are. I don't know. I view them as like animating thorn bushes because I have a lot of thorn bush type stuff in this deck. And the other ability he gets is whenever an enemy enters a nearby site, it takes 1 damage. That ability is really key because our deck is built to do a lot of ping damage and make our opponent walk their minions through our thorn bushes basically and then kill themselves. And it's really cool when you get the engine up and running. Do note when the avatar flips, you lose the ability to create these, so just kind of keep that in mind. So anyway, that is the avatar. Keep the avatar up in the right there in the corner. So now we'll go over the Atlas, and if you don't know, my deck techs from here on out are all going to be in the 60 Spellbook minimum and 40 Atlas minimum requirement. That will eventually be the new minimum. Right now, after Arthurian Legends released, it is 30 Atlas, 50 Spellbook. So if you want to trim stuff down, do so as you see fit. So go over the Atlases or the Atlas cards. We have the new Tri-Land. There's I think like 4 of them. I think there's 4 of them. I actually can't remember. But there's a Tri-Land for every combination of Tri attributes. And basically, this only provides mana and threshold while in your back row only. If you put it anywhere else, this card is not going to do anything. And they're also unique. So let's kind of keep that in mind. So this is a earth, water, air deck. So I have three of all the duels and everything. Nothing too fancy there. And so this deck has a really big beast and fairy theme. So I have a lot of sites that, complement that. Varmint Warrens is one of those, and it provides earth, and it says beasts here cannot be targeted by minions. So it kind of protects your stuff. We do have a couple things we want to protect. So I have 2 of those. This is probably one of the most key sites in this deck, and it's Briar Patch. It does exactly what the artwork would entail it does. It's a earth threshold. Whenever an enemy unit enters or leaves this site, it takes 1 damage. So there's going to be a lot of ping effects that will stack on each other. So Druid's flipped ability, this, and then there's an aura in the deck I'm running as well to stack a bunch of damage to kill weaker minions. And again, we have the whole swamp theme from the previous deck. So Quagmire makes things immobile. Babbling Brook is a new site with gorgeous artwork, by the way. Provides water. Genesis, until your next turn, minions are disabled while atop nearby sites. So again, it clogs your opponent down. Bog provides water threshold. Genesis, until your next turn, units are immobile while atop target nearby site. So similar to Quagmire. You want to lock our opponent's minions down and then move them when we want to move them. Ideally into like a Briar Patch. Troll Bridge is excellent. So we have Troll Bridge and then Bridge Troll. I ended up cutting Bridge Troll out of this deck, but, you know, we got the site that roughly does something similar. Provides Water Threshold, has 3 power. The first time a lone enemy enters here each turn, strike it unless they discard a card. So more of the sites doing damage kind of a theme we have here. Running 3 Pond. Again, great artwork. I got a really nice foil one. This card looks amazing foil. My crappy phone camera is not doing it justice. But it says, Genesis, this turn, the next beast cast to this site cost 1 less, ignoring all threshold. So very, very good. Got 3 of those. And then we're splashing air, so there's not really a whole lot of air. I mean, we have plenty of it with all of our dual sites, so I'm not really tripping about it too much. Treetop Hideout kind of fits our like foresty swamp theme. Try to get the glare of my camera off the card. There we go. And it says Genesis, you may give stealth to a nearby allied minion. So giving stealth to like your bear or any other cool things that we might have in here would be really ideal. So that's all of the like attribute providing sites, more or less. There's a couple in here that I'll go over in a minute. But we have these 2 new unique sites. This one, I straight up cannot pronounce the name to that, and I'm not even going to try. And then there's also Bower of Bliss. And these are very, very good for fairy and beast themed decks. This one, like, they don't provide attributes. They still provide mana, but there's no attributes. But this one says Genesis, untap nearby fairies, tap nearby mortals, give nearby beasts stealth. So being able to untap the fairies that we do have in here and giving all of our beasts stealth that are nearby, very, very solid. And then Bower of Bliss is just hilarious. It says, mortals in the realm become beasts and are silenced. I'm pretty sure silenced is any like printed abilities that are on their card, they lose them. So they just become vanilla beasts. They're not mortals anymore. That can be pretty dang good because there's a lot of new cards in this set that have amazing abilities, and being able to silence them is pretty sweet. Then we play Mirror Realm again. You might as well just put this into every atlas. These like next 5 cards can arguably go into every single deck, except for monocolor, I guess. These probably aren't that great in monocolor. In fact, they're not, but still, Valley of Delight, very delightful artwork. And as Genesis, choose one of the 4 attributes, and this produces it permanently. So this site is in contention. I don't just want to say it. It's paired with site like Crossroads that I highly recommend you get multiple play sets for. Just throw them in every deck. If you're not running monocolor, you should be running these, and then any deck in general in Sorcery should honestly be running Crossroads. So these, and then I can even say Mirror Realm, but this is a little more of an expensive card, so I kind of exclude that. These are cheap, and these I don't think are going to be super expensive either, but who knows. This card's great, though. And then I've gone over Crossroads 100 times. You all know what it does. Just reveal the top 4 of your atlas, choose one of them, put it on top, put the other 3 on the bottom. So it's kind of like a fetch land sort of, site. So anyway, that is the atlas. It's pretty heavy earth water because the deck is very heavy earth water. I am just splashing air for a couple things. There are some cards in this set I am missing that will flush out my air cards. There's a 2 uniques I can think of in particular. I'm going to keep them there. So anyway, let's go into the spellbook. I'll start by going over all of the earth cards, which is a good chunk of the deck. Its first card is White Heart. It's a 3 cost, 2 power, double earth threshold. Other minions and locations nearby can't be attacked. So this is fitting the whole like control aspect we have with the deck, though I will say this deck is also very aggro heavy as well. But this just slows your opponent down from doing damage to him. It's also a unique. This card's great. It's a Walpertinger. I think I'm saying that right. It's a crazy looking jackalope squirrel with some like bird wings. 4 cost, 2 threshold, 0 power. As +1 power for each of your dead beasts. This thing is an endgame finisher, and it can get crazy. I've had this thing be an 8 power minion before, so pretty awesome. And the next, we're going to go over all of these together. And if you don't know anything about me, I really, really like pigs. They're like one of my all-time favorite animals. Like sloths are number 1. Pigs are a very close number 2. So we have a very strong tribal pig theme here. And so to start it off, we have 4 copies of Wild Boar, just a 1 cost 2 power minion vanilla card. It was the same as the previous deck. These next chunk of cards, these ordinaries, exceptionals, and these 2 elites, they all go together. So I'll go over them individually. So this is Squeakers, on top of having the most adorable artwork in the set. It's a 1 cost, 1 power, and it has Death Rate. Reveal your next 5 spells, then summon all Pigs of Sunder, which is this, or Sounder, to the site that they died at, and then put the rest on the bottom of your spellbook in a random order. I will say, with the larger Atlas, it's really difficult to get it off, but when you do, it feels so good. And the Pigs of Sounder are exceptional, so you can only have 3 of them. They're a 3 cost, 2 threshold. These ones were 1 threshold because they're 1 cost, obviously. 3 power. And when these die, you reveal your next 5 spells and then summon all Grand Old Boars from among them to the site that they died at. Put the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. And then Grand Old Boar, he's got a runny nose, needs a tissue. But he's a 5 cost, triple threshold, 5 power, and it has charge as long as there's dead Squeakers. So that could be your cemetery, it could be your opponent's. It just says if there's any dead Squeakers, this thing gets pissed and attacks the turn you play it. This just makes me so happy that this exists in this set. And I will say these are a pain in the butt to open. It took me 10 freaking boxes to just get 2 of them. Like all of the unique knights and stuff make it incredibly hard to open play sets of elites in this set. That's like my one main critique about this set, though it is a very small critique / complaint. All right, next we have everything else, the non-minion cards. It's the very controlling factor of this deck. And Wall of Brambles is the card that I was talking about that combos with Druid's Flipped ability and Briar Patch, and then there's a blue card that will make us move our opponent's minions. Wall of Brambles is an aura. So this deck can work as Enchantress if you want it, if you would rather play Enchantress. Personally, I just like Druid a lot more. So keeping that in mind, this is an aura. It's an ordinary, so you can have 4 of them, and we do have 4 of them. You conjure it atop the border of an allied site, and whenever an enemy traverses this wall from on the ground, it takes 2 damage. So 2 damage when you make them move through just this, another 1 damage from Briar Patch, and another 1 damage from Druid. That is 4 damage. That can kill most of the minions in decks. Like, once you get up to like 5 power stuff, it weakens them, and then you can just go and finish them off like a Wild Boar or something. This whole setup, it does take time to do, but when you get it up and running, it is very, very good. Next, we have 4 copies of Entangled Terrain, just like the old deck. Again, you're treading through like a mystical forest and a swamp, so it's pretty difficult. So we're trying to keep in theme with that. We got rose bushes everywhere and muck all over the place. So Entangling Terrain is just an aura. You play it on the top of the 4 sites, and then everything there is immobile, and it lasts for 3 of your turns. And then finally, one of the better cards in the deck is Assorted Animals. If you're playing a beast deck, get these now. These are incredibly good for the beast deck and probably my #1 pickup card before you even start building a deck. Make sure you have your 2 copies of Assorted Animals. Cost decks, double Earth Threshold. Search your spellbook for different beasts with combined mana cost of X or less. Reveal them, put them in your hand, shuffle your spellbook. So it's a mass tutor for a bunch of different beasts that have all of their mana cost equal to whatever you spent for X. So it's a great way to get your Squeakers going, your your Wild Boars, and everything else. It's a grand old time. So now I'll go over all of the water cards. Again, it's another good chunk of the deck. To start things off, we have some of the fairies. We have Nelly Longarms. It is very similar to Pudge Butcher, and it has very creepy artwork and fits the theme that we're going for here. This card is insane, by the way. Like, if you're looking to play water, I would pick up a Nelly Longarms for sure. And it isn't unique, so it's a little difficult to get. 3 cost, double water threshold, 2 power. It has Submerge, and you can tap, shoot a projectile. If it hits a unit, you drag it here, and then she gets to submerge it. So she literally reaches her long, creepy, dangly stank arms, grabs something, brings it to her, and then drowns it. That is so cool. You can also steal people's Salmon of Knowledge, which we do have in here, and then try to fish their Salmon of Knowledge thanks to your Nelly Longarms. Very, very funny. More of the fairy theme. We have Sealy Court. I think I'm saying that right. 6 cost, double threshold, 5 power, so this is one of our beat sticks for the deck. And at the start of your turn, Players draw one spell for each fairy in the realm. So at the very least, while this is out, you get to draw, everyone will get to draw an additional card. Very, very solid card indeed. Here's another one that I'm mainly playing because it has a pig face, but over playing this deck, I found this card's actually pretty sweet. 3 cost, only 1 threshold, 3 power. And it says at the start of your turn, the Boggart gains a random mutation until end of turn. And of those random ones you can get, it can either be airborne, ranged, lethal, or +3 power. All 4 of those are great. Like, all 4 of those abilities are exceptional. Yeah, this card is, I think, deceptively good. I put it in here just for theme, and then after playing a few games, yeah, this thing's pretty solid. And I'm going to put the rest of the cards down because I freaking love this card. This is probably one of my other favorite cards of the set. This is Salmon of Knowledge. I would recommend people just getting play sets of this now because this card's like absolutely insane. 3 cost, double water threshold for a 0 power minion. It's elite, so you can have 2 of them. Submerge, waterbound, so just keep in mind a waterbound. And it has this really nifty ability here. It says, other units at this site may fish. So this grants those units there the ability to tap, and then you roll a d20. If you roll a 14 or higher, you banish the Salmon of Knowledge and draw 3 spells. Yeah, that's insane. Speaking of the next card is a cat. I had a cat harassing my girlfriend's Salmon of Knowledge, trying to fish it out of her ponds, and then eventually I caught up to it because I made it move, and I had the cat fish a salmon. And in this deck, you can have, like, how freaking thematic is this? You can have your bear fishing a salmon out of a pond or like a river. God, the flavor, it hurts how good it is. And this card is just so much fun. You can fish your other opponent's salmons. You can do it to yours. Just when you play it, do know your opponent can move a minion here and then try to fish your juicy salmon out of your own sights. So keep that in mind. I love this card, though. Next, I have 3 Lugbog Cat. 3 cost, double threshold for a 4 power. So this is another deceptively beat sticky kind of a card we have in here. And it simply says can and must be cast to any water site. You can cast this to your opponent's water sites. So pretty sure that's what that means, by the way. And I typically play it in conjunction with like Salmon of Knowledge, or if my opponent has a Salmon of Knowledge out, I'm throwing my cat wherever it is. I'm going to try to have my cat get a tasty fish. For more of the beasts we have in here, it's 4 of Lake Afank. Again, there's so many names in this set I don't know how to pronounce. 4 cost, double threshold, 3 power, lethal, and submerge. So yeah, this is just a good answer to kill big units. And if you're going against water, which water did get incredibly good in this set, thank goodness, because it was very underappreciated and difficult to play in the first set. You like most of water's removals drown stuff, so this thing can't be drowned. So pretty good. And then finally for the beasts, got 4 Swamp Buffaloes. Again, this is a swamp themed deck. I can't not play a card that has swamp in the name, so Swamp Buffalo, and it fits the aggro-y kind of a beast theme we have. Very simple, straightforward card. And then now for the non-minion stuff. Play 2 Sylvan Splendor. Again, this is an aura, so if you wanted to keep an Enchantress, you can animate this aura if you want. 4 cost, double water threshold. Whenever you cast a beast or fairy to the affected site, draw a spell. So it basically gives everything in the deck, when cast, draw a card. Like Apprentice Wizard. Pretty good. Just keep in mind, whenever the opponent attacks one of the sites that this is affecting, you dispel this, you get rid of it. So just kind of keep that in mind. This is another incredibly fun card. It's a shapeshift, 4 cost, 2 threshold, elite magic of capricious change. An allied minion tries to transform. Look at your next 5 spells. You may choose a minion from among them to be the new form. Put the rest on the bottom in a random order. So I had a game where I shapeshifted a wild boar into a grand old boar and then put my opponent on death's door because I had dead squeakers. Oh my goodness, this card is good fun. And then finally, for the last of the water cards, we have Led Astray. This is how we get our opponent to move their stuff through thorn bushes and have them kill their own minions. It is ordinary magic, so you have 4, so obviously we have 4. 2 cost, 1 threshold, which is great. And it simply says choose any number of enemies at target location. They take a step together to another location they're adjacent to. So ideally, you want them to be walking through your wall of brambles on your briar patch while the druid is flipped. And if there's a bunch of weak minions, I've killed 3 minions in one go at this because they all just walked over and just like killed themselves. So yeah, this card's great. Finally, to round out the deck, we have a very small chunk of air cards, though there will be more once I get some of the unique air cards that I'm missing, like Queen of the Fae and so on and so forth. So another one of the beat sticks in the deck is Unseelie Court. So not Seelie Court, but Unseelie Court. And its artwork is like pretty much the exact opposite. Everything's dead and decrepit. And it does the exact opposite of the other card. 6 cost, 2 air threshold, 5 power. At the start of your turn, each player discards a spell for each fairy in the realm. So this fits with the good controlling kind of a theme we have, while having like a big 5 power beat stick. Next, I play 3 copies of Tooth Fairy. It's just a cheap, efficient airborne minion. 2 cost, 1 threshold, 2 power, airborne. And at the start of your turn, tap target nearby minion. So you can make them not like block wherever you're attacking or whatever it is you're doing. Plus, look at this dude's mouth. Look at him. Ain't he sweet? Just sitting there holding the tooth. Got a big old freaking chomper mouth there. And then finally, to end the deck, we have 3 Sling Pixies. 1 cost, 1 threshold, 1 power, airborne, and ranged, which is pretty sweet. And it takes no damage from units with 4 or more power. So whatever we can't really kill with our stuff, this is just probably immune to them. So it fits the whole opposite side of the spectrum of the deck that we're going for. And yeah, that is the deck. It is a very minion heavy deck, which I'm noticing with sorcery, especially with the larger Atlas. I am running a lot more minions than anything else because minions do win games. And I'm having way too much fun. I jammed so many games with this deck over the weekend, and it is an absolute blast. And I can't wait to spend the next year perfecting this deck like I did with my original decks when the first set came out via Kickstarter. So expect probably the similar amount of videos, you know, just kind of showing my deck building journey for this game and so on and so forth. Yeah, this deck is a riot though to play, and I can't wait to test out some other ideas that I have going on. And if any of you have any suggestions or comments on what to put to this deck or what to try out for it, let me know in the comments down below. And basically just wishing everyone a happy Arthurian Legends release. And to those who are still waiting on their packages, because USPS really crapped the bed this like past couple days trying to get stuff to people, I feel for you. I hope your stuff gets delivered safe and sound. And yeah, until then, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and I'll catch you all later. See ya.